Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome guys. In this video we're going to be reacting to Brother Jake's claim, the Ibn Taymiyyah Salafi nominalist move of trying to avoid Tashbih by pulling out the nominalist card. I'm going to show you why it doesn't work in this video. So let's first hear what Brother Jake said, his claim of how he avoids the Tashbih, okay?
Have a beginning in time, and yet they are uncreated. Some may argue that we Atheists affirm that Allah has a hand, and thereby liken him to creation. They may claim that we cannot attribute the same name to God and creation without ascribing the same ontology for God and creation. This principle is falsified if one affirms God and humans can possess an essence without being similar ontologically. The same bears true for every other predicate given to God. Also, looming behind the charge of Tashbih is an assumed realism regarding universals. For example, God and humans both have knowledge. This universal knowledge must be partially identical in God and man, the objector assumes. However, if we reject the realist notion this argument assumes, we cannot affirm the conclusion of Tashbih. There is no ontological sharing between God and creation because ontological sharing does not exist. Every object, including its essence and attributes, is particular and not universal. Universals merely exist as concepts in the mind.
Okay, so that's the claim, guys. Let's now react to it. I'm going to show you why it doesn't work. Okay, so remember the charge is Tashbih. They are charging them with Tashbih. Okay, and specifically, I'll argue this specifically is about the concrete attributes that they are affirming. Okay, no one is really arguing with them about the abstract ones. Okay, so they affirm something. They are affirming hand. No one is really arguing with them about the knowledge. Okay, fine, you can make an argument about this, but the point is the hand and those concrete attributes that you affirm. That's what people have issue with you. So when you now pull out the nominalist card or the conceptualist card, I feel like it doesn't work for one reason. It's going to destroy the idea of any tashbih whatsoever. Okay, so tashbih will be meaningless in any situation. It's not just for God. So for instance, now let's say we have a dog. This is the hand of a dog. Okay, this is the dog hand, and you have a human being hand, right? Yeah, that's right. So now, the problem of nominalism that they are using, okay, nominalism. There's one issue with nominalism, the issue of resemblance, okay? And by the way, it's literally resemblance, nominalism, resemblance. There's a theory of nominalism called resemblance nominalism. You get it, like resemblance tashbih. Anyway, this is the issue. The issue is that let's assume that okay, nominalism is true for everything. There's still this issue of resemblance. That's what I want to show you guys. Even if nominalism is true, such that this hand and this hand, there's nothing called hand that is grouping them together. When you tell someone to go and bring, let's say this is a rock or a bucket. Say this is a bucket, right? So these are 4 things. 1, 2, 3, 4. All of them, they are particulars, right? If I tell you to go and bring the hands, you will pick out these 2. Because even if nominalism is true, there's still something in your mind that knows that this and this, they are similar. They resemble each other. Okay? No matter how much you want to admit nominalism, you still know that they resemble each other. Such that you can say, this is ontologically different from this one. But everybody knows that when I tell you to go and bring hands, you will bring these ones. Whether you're a conceptualist or a nominalist, you have to affirm resemblance. Because you pick out red things and you don't mistake them with blue things. You pick out blue things and you don't mistake them with the green. You still are able to do this. Even if you are a nominalist, it doesn't change that fact that you know that things resemble each other. So now, pulling out this resemblance card in the issue of Aqidah that we're discussing here, to me, it's not going to save you, because we know that this hand and this hand, they are ontologically different. According to you, they are ontologically different because there is no ontological sharing, right? This hand and this hand are ontologically different. Let's say yes, it's true. They are ontologically different. And they don't have any, we don't assume any realist notion about universals. We eliminate the universals. Yet, we know that they resemble each other. There's not one that can tell me this does not resemble this. So the problem is that if we are arguing about Tashbih and you affirm hand for God, okay? So you affirm hand for God and then you say, okay, hand for God and you affirm hand for creatures. It will just be like this case. It will just exactly be like this case. But wouldn't we, so when I see this hand now, wouldn't I know that they still resemble each other? Of course they resemble each other, which is Tashbih. Do you guys get it? So it doesn't work. To me, it's not going to save this. It only shows that any two hands, for instance, now, they still resemble each other. So there's still Tashbih. There's Tashbih between these two. The only thing you can tell us is that come and prove to us how this hand does not resemble this hand. If you can prove that, and you cannot prove it, even nominalism is not going to solve it, because there's a resemblance in no matter which nominalist theory, they are going to reach a bedrock of a place where they will say, yes, they resemble each other, but it doesn't mean anything exists between them. But that is absurd, in my own opinion. So no, creatures, they don't resemble each other. So you get the point, guys. I don't know if I'm rambling on. The thing is that this nominalist stuff is going to tell us that this hand and this hand, they don't resemble each other, which means there's no Tashbih anywhere. Even with two human beings, to me, I'll argue that if you have two human beings, because I'm using dog, you might be thinking that, let's say this is the fifth person now. These two human beings now, there's no Tashbih between them. If you want to follow your argument to the end, there's no Tashbih between them because there's no ontological sharing. But how, maybe him is a conceptualist, how are you making that, how is the universals exist in the mind in an ordered way that groups things together? Which what is doing that? What is doing that? So let's say they exist in the mind. So only in our mind, this hand and this hand, they resemble each other. That's what Tashbih is. Like, even if we adopt your method, it will still constitute Tashbih because it is in the mind that these two hands resemble each other. It is in the mind that the hand of the dog and the hand of the human resemble each other. So if you now bring God, it wouldn't help the case. It will just make it much more clear that you are a Mushabiha. Do you guys get it? Do you think this argument makes sense? Like, don't you think that if two human being hands now, they don't resemble each other in reality, they only resemble each other in our mind? And we will know that there's clear Tashbih between two human beings. There's no doubt about that. Therefore, if there's clear Tashbih between two human beings, and it only exists in our mind, if you bring God and you say, okay, God, there's no ontological reality that we resemble each other, it will still resemble each other in your mind. Just like it does with the two human beings and the hand of the human being and the animal. It will still resemble each other. It will not resemble a bucket or a rock. It will not resemble that. It will resemble a hand. Because you still have that concept in your mind. But if you want to go full-blown nominalist, even then, you can still not avoid this because there will still be a way of knowing that they resemble each other. Whether it is they call it like it is what is it called? Is it primacy, or how will I say this? It's primitive. They will say resemblance is primitive, or this, how we do it, we don't know. It's just a fact. It's just the fact that these two hands resemble each other. It's not because of anything. They just resemble each other. But that's Tashbih. If there's Tashbih, if you admit that there's Tashbih between these two, and there's Tashbih between these two, any other hand concept that you bring, whether it is in your mind and it doesn't exist in reality, it will still be Tashbih. What do you guys think about this argument? That's all I have for you in this video. So see you guys later. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.